I want to hear yours and Grandpa's love story.
Okay. Well, we had an arranged marriage. And it was arranged by the Lord. And it started when my cousin was a missionary companion to this young man. His name was Elder Hamilton. My cousin that introduced me to this young man was going on a mission to Paraguay, and he and his girlfriend decided that it would be pretty fun and neat to get married and keep it a secret all the time he was on his mission. And that's what they did. They ran off to Elko and got married. And the judge or justice, whoever performed the ceremony, suspected she was underage, and she was. She was 17, I guess. So the judge sent the license copy, marriage license, to her parents. And the next day was his next farewell, and the bishop got up and announced that elder service had decided on a different mission. And I'm sure everybody in the congregation wondered what was going on, but anyway, Dick had to go and be questioned by the general authorities about why he got married, and did he need to, was it a necessity, And when they were convinced that he was innocent, just a dumb kid, they asked, would you like to go English speaking? Because it would be 6 months shorter mission, because they always added 6 months after, at that time, 6 months onto your call. Because my cousin's mission got changed to English speaking, he was assigned to the New England mission and to Vermont, and that's where he met Chester, who was serving as a missionary in Vermont. My cousin kept asking him to write to me, and he didn't want to write to me, He said, I don't want to write your cousin. And my cousin would not leave him alone until he did.
So what did your cousin see in Chester?
I don't know. I think maybe he felt sorry for me because I'd lost those 2 boyfriends in the war. That's the only reason I can think of.
Okay, let's hear that story now, because now it's part of it.
Which story?
Losing 2 boyfriends.
Oh. Well, I was engaged when I was 18 to a young man that I knew as a child. He and I knew each other as children. And this was the Second World War. He was, for the last of his training, went to Hawaii. And he was a radio man gunner in a 2-seater plane. One day in their training, they took off and they only got 100 feet in the air and the plane crashed and burned. And of course that was a terrible experience for his family and hard for me. I had my best friend, and her brother was my brother's best friend, who was in the Marines, and he came and comforted me when I was, grieving. And eventually he asked me to marry him. And I told him it was too soon since Jack's death. But then he asked me then not to cut my hair till he got home. And I promised to do that. And he didn't get home. He was killed on Tarawa, was one of the islands that the United States was fighting the Japanese over. That's the end of the story, really. Well, actually, that's probably why my cousin felt sorry for me, I think. He never said that he did, but That's all. The only reason I can think of that he insisted that Chester write to me. So I got this first letter from him, and it was just, introducing himself to me, where he was from, and so forth. I read the letter, and I said to my mother, "That's the man I'm going to marry." And I hadn't been on my mission yet, and I'd wanted to go since I was a young girl. So when the time came for me to apply, I did, and I went on my mission. Still, and I'd been writing to this elder all that time, and I continued writing to him on my mission. When I got home from my mission, he had come home from his in July, and I came the day before Christmas. And so I had invited him to come spend the Christmas vacation at my parents' so we could get to know each other personally. By the time we met, we had written for 22 months to each other. When I came home from a mission, I had to stop in Salt Lake and report my mission to an apostle. I was in the church office building. When I came downstairs, there was this elder that I'd been writing to. He was there in the lobby with my aunt because he'd come up from Provo and stayed overnight at my aunt's house. So I asked him if he was going home with me, and he said, "Well, yeah, I guess so." And he told me later that he waited to see me before he decided whether he was going or not. Anyway, we rode the bus all night long. We yacked all the way, practically, down to Sacramento, and arrived in the morning of Christmas Eve. And he kept asking me, wasn't I tired? Didn't I want to put my head on his shoulder? And I thought that was pretty brazen of him. I wasn't about to do that, but eventually I fell asleep with my head on his shoulder. Anyway, he spent the week there with me and my parents. And I think about the third day, we went and played a love match of tennis. When we got back to my parents' home, we sat in the car talking, and he said, "I would ask you now to get married, but the general authorities tell us not to rush." And so what I heard was, "I'd ask you to get married now. I would ask you now," but what he meant was, "I'd get married now." So all of a sudden I realized I'm engaged, and I didn't even get a chance to say yes or no. So I said, "Do you mind if we keep it a secret for a while?" And he went along with that. And the next morning when I got up, I was okay with marrying him. I knew it was good then. There was a tradition in our little branch of the church in Carmichael, California, that the teenagers went caroling Christmas Eve night to all the members of the branch. And so, of course, I wanted to go, and Chester went with me. I was calling him Chester now instead of Elder. And so we got stuffed into one of the cars, and there was no place for me to sit except on his lap, which is what I did. And the rascal had brought a piece of mistletoe to hold over my head in the car, and I couldn't get away from it, And that's to get the first kiss. You're supposed to kiss the person that holds the mistletoe over you. So we had that evening, and then...
Did you want to kiss him, or were you a little bit nervous too?
I was still a little nervous, yeah. So about the third day he was there, because I had agreed to the engagement, he said, "Let's go get our rings sized." There was a little jewelry store in the area. So we went, and not only did we size our rings, we picked them out, and with a penny in our pockets, about all the money we had, and went home. And my father had never said a word about any young man I dated, which was pretty surprising, because they were all non-members, except Marvin. So when we got back from the jewelers, and I guess we were excited, we're telling my folks, my father said, "Would you like to wear your ring to the New Year's Eve dance?" I said, "Oh, yeah, I'd love to." And so he loaned Chester the money to go purchase the ring. So we had, which was amazing to me. And my father would keep looking at my future husband and saying to me, "So you think you're in love, do you?" And he's the only person I dated that he ever made any comment to, which was pretty surprising to me, that he was a branch president, and I was dating all these non-members because there were no members at my age. So we had the rings, and all we had to do now, he had to go back to the Y at the end of the week. And so we really never had a date. We did all of our getting to know each other by mail, yeah. And so when he got back to the Y, I wrote him every night. And it kept his interest alive, I guess. So that's probably the end of the story, except we had 49 years together before he passed away. Not enough?
Probably. You just want to be done?
I'm done.
Okay.